In this video, we're going to look at length measured in the English and the metric systems and how to convert between themselves and each other. Let me start with the lengths in the English system. We have 12 inches equals 1 foot. The foot is the basis for all the measurements in the English system. So everything is sort of in regards to that. If I take 3 feet, that equals 1 yard. And then finally, 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. So notice what I've used: IN, inch, FT, feet, MI, mile. Then there's yard. YD equals yard. And to give you an idea of the actual length, 1 foot is roughly the length of a regular piece of paper. I know those are 11.5 inches. They're a little bit shorter than a foot, but that's about the right size. Rulers usually come in 1 foot as well, so that gives you an idea of what size physically you're dealing with. Let's do some conversions in the English system first. I want to convert 1 mile to yards. So you're given 1 mile and you want to eventually get to YD. So let's take a look at our computations and see if there's anything that directly connects mile and YD. If I look over here, 1 mile is in regards to feet, but it's not given in terms of yard, although we have a connection between yards and feet. So this is sort of the way it works. I'm going to start with 1 mile, and then I'm going to go down to feet. So if I do times 1, I have not changed the value of this thing at all. Well, this is a special one. I'm going to take 1 mile and multiply it by 5,280 feet divided by 1 mile. What happens here is very interesting. This mile here and this mile here cancel out, and you're left with 5,280 feet. Now the question needed me to go to yards, not feet. So now I look at my table here, these 3 equations that I have, and I see that there is a connection between feet and yards. 3 feet equals 1 yard. So once again, I'm going to multiply by what is 1 times. I want yards to be the thing that's standing when all is said and done. So I want to take the feet out of there. And so I can cancel the feet. And now you see what's left over is just yard. So I have 5,280 divided by 3 YD. And that turns out to be 1,760 YD. For my next example, convert 36,000 feet to miles. So this one, I think we had a direct connection between feet and miles, and that was 5,280 feet was equal to 1 mile. So I have 36,000 feet, and I need to take out the feet and change it to miles. So when I multiply by something, I would like my FTs on the bottom and my MI on top. That way those will cancel. And we do have a connection here. 1 mile was 5,280 feet. So after you've done your canceling, I have 36,000 divided by 5,280, but it's in miles. And I'll just use my calculator. So 36,000 divided by 5,280, enter. I get about 6.8, well, the 8 ones repeat. I missed a 0 here. Let me put one in there. So we end up with 6.81 with a bar over it, miles. Here we have the metric system. Our system, the English system, is based on the foot. The foot rules everything. In the metric system, it's the meter. The meter, everything is defined in terms of the meter. So if you go up the list, you're getting larger sizes, kilometer being the largest measurement that they use for such things. Then you've got the other ones. The smaller ones are below the meter. You got the decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. Those are all very small. And you can usually, if you have a ruler, one side will be the English version and the other side will be the metric version. So you can look at it and see how small centimeters and millimeters and all that kind of stuff are. But let's do some conversions within this table first. So I'll start with an example right next to it. Let us convert 157 meters to centimeters. So I do like I normally do. And then what I hope to get is centimeters on the top and cancel out my meters. So is there a connection between centimeters and meters? Let's see if I can find one right here. There's what we have. So 1 centimeter is 0.01 of a meter. So 1 centimeter is 0.01 of a meter. That way I can cancel these meters out. And then I have 157 divided by 0.01 cm. So it's in the correct units. All I have to do is finish this off. And you're going to find that you're just going to add 2 zeros to that number in the numerator. 15,700 centimeters. So the conversion works exactly the same way. You'll be able to have this table. You don't have to memorize it. Next, let's convert 73 hectometers to millimeters. So I'll have 73 hectometers. Now, there's nothing in this table that directly connects hectometers to millimeters. I have to go through meters to do it first. So what I'm going to do is I notice that 100 meters is equal to 1 hectometer. And I'll check that out just to make sure that I don't forget. 1 hectometer is 100 meters according to this table. So that allows me to cancel out the hectometers. And what I have left over is 7300 meters. Now they wanted it in millimeters and not just meters. So now I have to do another conversion again. It so happens that there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. And so when I cancel out these meters, I'll have 7300, and then I'll add 3 zeros. 7,300,000 millimeters. One thing I did here is I didn't use the table directly. I want to go back and redo the problem using the table directly, and I'll show you why. I happen to know the numbers that I used, but the table tells me that 1 hectometer is still equal to 100 meters. That's actually in the table itself. So I'll use that. That's not a big deal. I didn't violate the table. It was the next one where I violated the table. So I had 7,300 meters. I did not use the table directly when I said there's 1,000 millimeters to a meter. I just happened to know that. Instead, if we use the table directly, I have to use this here at the end, and I will get 0.001 millimeter. I'm sorry, I put it upside down. 1 millimeter is equal to 0.001 meter. And that way I can cancel the meters out, and you'll be left with 7,300 divided by 0.001 millimeters. And as you can imagine, dividing by the 0.001 simply adds 3 zeros to the end of the number in the numerator. And you get the same thing that way. Next, let's look at conversions between English and metric systems. So we need something that will connect each of the measurements, or at least some of the measurements, from English to metric. And what we do, here's one, this is one that's very useful. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. 1 foot equals 30.48 centimeters. 1 yard is roughly equal to 0.914 meters. And 1 mile is approximately 1.609 kilometers. So these first two are exact. They're by definition. The second two are approximate. Usually you'll find, if you find yourself in, say, Europe, where metric is used all the time, you'll find that centimeters are used for things like measuring height. For very small things, they'll use millimeters, but for most everyday things, they'll use centimeters, unless you're talking about buildings or very big things, then they'll switch to meters. It's kind of like in our system. We'll use feet for most everything that's medium-sized. We'll use miles for very large things, and then we'll use inches for tiny things. Well, they'll use millimeters for tiny things, meters for medium things, and then kilometers for gargantuan things. As my first example of this, let's convert 3.5 meters to feet. Let me leave that table up there. Do I have any connection between feet and meters directly? I do not see anything, so the first thing I'm going to use is this guy right up here. I'm going to do 1 foot is equal to 30.48 centimeters. So I'll have 3.5. Oh, actually, I forgot where I was at. I need to get the meters out of there, so I need to do something like this. Well, using the one table, we know that 1 cm is equal to 0.01 meters. So I can cancel that. That's using the table for the metric. And so far what I have then is 3.5 divided by 0.01 centimeters. If you wanted to clean this up right now, you could do this, 350 centimeters, and then we'll move on. I still need to get to feet. So is there a connection between feet and centimeters? Yes, I have an arrow next to that connection. So when I do this, I'm going to put the feet on the top, 1 foot, divided by 30.48 centimeters. And that way the centimeters cancel out, and I get 350 divided by 30.48, and this will be in feet. And let me get my calculator on this. I'll round to 3 places, 11.483 feet. Next, let's convert 5.8 YD to meters. Let me see if I have a direct connection between YD and meters, and that'll make it easy. I do. Right here, I have a direct connection between YD and meters. So I have 5.8 YD. Now when I do my multiplication, I want to make sure that the YD is on the bottom and the meters are on the top so that these YDs cancel. What was the equation? 1 YD was 0.914 meters. So all I have to do is 5.8 times 0.941. I think I said 941 and I meant 0.914. It looks like, I'll just keep all the digits here since it stops. 5.3012. And that's in meters. Next, let's convert 29.8 millimeters to inches. We'll start with a 29.8 millimeters. Now if I'm lucky, I can get a millimeter down here and an IN up there. So is there a direct connection between inches and millimeters? Let's take a look. There is not a direct connection between inches and millimeters, but there is a direct connection between centimeters and inches. So if I can get to centimeters, I'll be in good shape because then I'll be able to get to inches. So is there a connection between millimeters and centimeters? So let's get these out of here. So how about this at least? If I can get there, I'm pretty good. Let me go back to the table that involves those connections and see if we have one. No, they're all referenced in terms of meters. So I'm going to have to use this one again. 1 centimeter is 0.01 of a meter. And 1 millimeter is 0.001 of a meter. So I'm going to have to go through meters. So it looks like I'm going to have to take that out and go through meters. So 1 millimeter was equal to 0.001 of a meter. I got it. So right now I'm in meters. If you want, this is a cool way to do it. You can continue this multiplication and then just cancel as you go. Alright, so far I'm in meters. Now I know that there is a connection between meters and centimeters. I'm going to continue this. And I would like my meters on the bottom and centimeters on the top. After I get this, I'll be able to go directly to inches. So we know that 1 centimeter was equal to 0.001, actually 0.01 of a meter. And we can cancel out the meters, and now I'm at centimeters. Now I can make the connection between centimeters and inches. So I'll want centimeters in the denominator and inches in the top. 1 inch was equal to 2.54 centimeters. So cancel out these centimeters. If you look, I am in inches. Now let me go ahead and write down what I have left. 29.8 times 0.001. That's all that was in the numerator. And in the denominator, I have 0.01 times 2.54. So let's have the calculator handle this. 29.8 times 0.001, then divide. I'm going to put in parentheses what I have down there. I have 0.01 times 2.54. Hit enter. So I'll go to 3 decimal places, 1.173. Next, let's convert 774 DAM to feet. So these are decameters. Now let's see what connections we have. I'm going to start with the decameters, of course. 774 DAM. Now, whatever I do, I'm going to eventually get to feet. Most certainly, since it's the metric system that we're starting with, it will be a direct connection to meters. So I'll have my DAM in the denominator. I'll be able to have my meters in the top. Let's go to that table and see what the connection is between DAM and M. So right here, 1 decameter is 10 meters. You probably could have guessed that because of the deca. But let me go ahead and put that into our problem. So 10 meters equals 1 decameter. And so now I'm in meters. I'm going to continue on. I think I have a direct connection from feet to meters. Let's go back to the other table and see. No, I don't. I do have, this would be interesting. Let me try this one. I have a yard to meter connection, or I have a foot to centimeters. Now, personally, I think I would prefer this one right here, feet to centimeters, because it's exact. So let me try to get centimeters in there. So I want to put a cm on the top and a meter on the bottom. I remember that 1 centimeter is 0.01 meters. Got it. And now I can do a connection between feet and centimeters. It just so happens that there is 30.48 centimeters in 1 foot. And so what are we left with? I have 774 times 10. That's all in the numerator. And in the denominator, I have 0.01 times 30.48. And this is in feet. Well, the numerator is easy. It's 7740. The denominator is probably not as hard either. It's 0.3048. I did a little computation in my head. 25393.701. This is a heavier example than the other ones because now I'm giving you a speed and I want you to convert it. So here, what we have so far is I have 0.03 miles per hour. When you hear the word per, that does mean divide. So I have 0.03 miles divided by hours. What I want to do is get to centimeters per second. So I have 0.03 miles per hour. By the way, use MI for miles. M is always going to be used for meters. And hour, I'll use HR. So you want to convert that to cm per seconds. Let's start first with the miles. I know how to convert that to some things. Let me make sure that I'm going to be getting rid of miles. What do we know? Well, 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Why would I use that? Because I don't think I have a connection between miles and meters at all. Let's see if I do. Right here. I could use this. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Let's do, so 1.609 kilometers. So I've decided not to go with the feet. But you can, trust me, there's multiple ways of doing this. So I've taken out the miles, and so now I'm in kilometers per hour. Now I'm going to whittle the kilometers till I get to centimeters. You can do the kilometers, you can connect that to meters. You know that 1,000 meters are in 1 kilometer. So I can wipe out the kilometers. So right now I'm in meters per hour. Now let me convert to centimeters. So I'm going to have cm on the top and meters on the bottom. I know that 0.01 meter equals 1 centimeters. So I'll wipe those out. And so far what I have is centimeters per hour. I want to convert that hour to seconds so I can continue. Now I want the hour on top to wipe out the hour that was below. We know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So I can cancel these hours, and right now then my units are centimeters per minute. Let me give myself a little more space over here. And we know that I can wipe out the minutes with seconds because 1 minute equals 60 seconds. You can use the letter S for seconds because that is the international abbreviation for seconds. Take out min, and all I have left, the only things uncanceled, is a centimeter in the numerator and an S in the denominator, so that's what I want. Now, after all this, let me collect all my numbers in the numerator. I had a 0.03 times 1.609 times 1,000 times, and all the rest were ones, so I don't need that last one in there. And in the denominators, I had 0.01 times 60 times 60. Well, let's see what all this yields. Make sure that you include your denominator in parentheses so you capture the whole thing. To 3 decimal places, that's 1.341. And I forgot my units. We are in centimeters per second. cm per second. For my last example, another one that I want to convert the speed of something to something else. This woman, Elena, she won the gold medal in the women's 20-kilometer race with her time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 2 seconds. And we want this changed to miles per hour. So what we write now in our speed that we have is 20 km divided by 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 2 seconds. That denominator is problematic because it has 3 different units in it. Let me, before I do anything else, convert and make the denominator all seconds. So let's start with 1 hour. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And if you convert that to seconds, then I'll have to do 60 seconds over 1 minute. And you end up with 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So let me work this again. 20 km, and I converted the hour to seconds, so I have 3,600 seconds. And then the 25 minutes, let me convert that also to seconds. So 25 minutes times 60 seconds divided by 1 minute. And what do we have there? $1,500 seconds. And then we had plus 2 seconds. So let's add those all together. I have 20 on the top, and in the denominator I have 4,600, 5,100, so 5102, and this is in kilometers per second. And what I want is to do this in miles per hour. So we have a connection. Let me take care of the kilometers first. We have a connection between kilometers and miles. In fact, 1 mile was equal to 1.609 kilometers. This will wipe out the kilometers, and now I'm in miles per second. I need to change myself to miles per hour. Well, what I just learned is that there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So I can take out the seconds, and if you look in the numerator, the mile is not crossed out, and in the denominator, hour is not crossed out, so that's what I want. Let me gather my numbers. I have 20 times 3,600 divided by 5102 times 1.609, and that's all, and this will be in miles per hour. As usual, make sure you contain the denominator in parentheses. Roughly 8.771. One last note, all this canceling that we've been doing, they refer to that as dimensional analysis. The reason why is a lot of times if you're working a real life problem and you're confused whether you should multiply or divide by things, the units themselves, miles and hours and all those kind of things, the order of those will many times tell you how to construct your solution. So that's why they refer to it as dimensional analysis.